Today I'm going to walk you through our accounts payable solution. Our accounts payable solution is one of Integrity's pre-built modules which come as part of our knowledge capture online solution. Our accounts payable solution is available out of the box and comprises the four main accounting steps which any organisation need to go through, from receipt of invoice through to payment of the invoice. Here you can see I've logged on to our knowledge capture online accounts payable solution, which is fully hosted in the cloud or can be deployed on premise, and here we can see we have the four main steps that our invoice needs to go through until it's finally paid. Number 1, validate supplier. Step 2, compare invoice against the PO. Step 3, manager reviews invoice. Step 4, finally pay invoice. What you will notice in the bottom right hand corner of each box, we have some numbers in red. They are the amount of documents which are waiting to be processed in each relevant step of the AP workflow. So here you can see under validate supplier we have 8 invoices which are waiting to be processed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on validate supplier and I'm going to take you through the first step of the workflow. Now I'm in the validate supplier stage of the accounts payable workflow process. I just want to walk you through the screens which you can now see. In the left hand corner we have the in basket. So these are all of the documents which are waiting to be validated. As you can see we have a range in there. The icons with a padlock are being currently processed by a user, so they're being locked out. So if anyone else wanted to come in and view these documents, they could only view them as read only and couldn't perform any workflow steps. Here you can see I've checked out the document which we're now validating. This is an invoice which has come in for £1,764, and here we can see on the right hand side that we have the document viewer. This is where you can actually display the invoice which you're actually processing at this moment in time. The main purpose of this validate supplier step is to go through and check to make sure that the actual organisation is indeed a valid supplier. Once you've confirmed that the supplier is valid, you can come down, you can select supplier OK. If indeed it was a new supplier or an unknown supplier, you could choose those options, and then this document would be routed down a separate workflow. But for the purposes of the demonstration, I'm just going to say supplier OK, click complete, and now this is going to move us on to the next stage of the AP workflow. Now we have completed the validate supplier step of the accounts payable workflow. I've now gone back to the main process menu, and now you can see where we had the validate supplier. We previously had 8 invoices which need to be validated. This has now been reduced to 7 as we've moved an item out of this queue. This has now been moved into the compare invoice against PO. This was currently at 10, we've now jumped up to 11. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to walk you through this next step of the AP workflow process where we can go in and we're comparing the invoice against the PO. I'm now going to click on the box to enter this next segment. Now you can see we're in the match PO screen, and I've already selected my document which I need to match the PO. Here on the right hand side we have the document viewer. Again on the left hand side we have the in basket, and then we have some work data. So the screens pretty much they look the same as we progress through this process. In this work data box you have the ability to enter any notes into the system which may be applicable. Once we've come down and we've matched the PO against the invoice, we can then choose our response. We have the option to approve, reject, to place on hold. We can also view the audit trail, and we can enter any journal data which may be relevant. For the purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to select approve, hit complete. You can now see that this item has now been, my document has been removed from the in basket, and I'm going to come back to the process menu. Now we're back in the process menu. We can see that the document has moved from the compare invoice against PO. It's now sat in the manager's review queue. The next 2 steps, the screens look exactly the same, so I'm not going to take you into the screens at this moment in time. The only exception to the workflow is when an invoice goes through to a manager to review, that manager will receive an email notification alerting them to the fact that there is an invoice or multiple invoices for them that they need to go in and review. When they receive that email notification, they will receive the URL that takes them to that specific document which they need to go in and approve. This now concludes my accounts payable demonstration. Should you have any further questions, you can go to our website www.kc-ol.com/accounts_payable.php, or alternatively you can send an email into sales@integrity.com. Thank you very much for your time.